So this morning in Exodus 3, we studied about how God just shows up when you least expect it. Moses had been tending sheep for 40 years, which had to have been pretty mundane, and yet God showed up anyway, and right where he was at, and met him there and told him that he was going to save his people. So I wanted to do this clip card. So what I did was I used just a plain cardstock paper, and I put some distress ink on a plate and sprayed water on it, and I just layered it, and each layer I let dry in between. If you smudge it too much, you're going to end up with a lot of brown. I wanted it to look kind of like fire, like the burning bush, which is where Moses met God, and he was curious about that and walked over, and God spoke to him. So we have to remember to follow God's prompts, even though it may seem strange, because he followed the prompts of God and walked over out of curiosity, and God gave him this message. So I stamped a little flower on there. I didn't have a bush, so I stamped a flower on there. And I decided to just use some watercolors to color it in, and I wanted it to look really nice and like it was on top of the flames, because I wanted it to look like it was a flower that was surrounded by fire but wasn't burning up, so that it would remind me of the burning bush experience that Moses had. So I painted it in with my Neocolor 2 palettes, watercolors, and then I decided to stamp around some extra leaves around the bottom of it, just so it would look a little bit more vibrant onto the page, and to show the greenery more, because the greenery stayed green even though the bush was on fire. So I wanted it to remind me of that. And then I just added a few little red splatters, just because, you know me, all my stuff has lots of splatters on it. So, and then I wrote on there that God meets us where we are, and that we should always follow God's prompting. And I did that in just that faux calligraphy on a couple of words to make them stand out bold, the follow and the God. I wanted to be a little bit bolder. And then what I did was I outlined with my black pen to make it stand out a little bit more on the flower. And then I took some white gesso and, oh, I forgot, I did a little bit of red around the edges just to kind of frame it out. It wasn't a lot, it was just enough to just give it a slight shadow frame. And then I took some white gesso and added some white splatter paints to make that splatter even more vibrant and bold. And now I have this Bible clip card that goes on that page that reminds me that God meets us where we are, and we have to remember that we have to follow his prompting. And sometimes it can be very, very strange, but it doesn't matter, because he's got great plans for us if we do that and we obey him and we follow. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it inspired you, and I hope that you will reach out and try to do one of your own.